Thanks, Marco. And as said, I'm Artjem, one of the two founders of Charles. And I want to talk about how WhatsApp is becoming an integral part of profitable growth in e-commerce, and a little bit also what our company Charles, what our role is within that. And maybe for you to understand how I got there to be so excited and to believe so much into WhatsApp in e-commerce is my personal journey. So in 2014, out of university, I started a consumer brand called Captain & Son, which today is close to 100 million in revenue. So it was a great journey with a lot of learnings. And my co-founder, Andreas, he at the end led the e-commerce unit at McKinsey, where he was dealing more with the bigger brands, not the challengers like us. And in 2019, we really wanted to pioneer WhatsApp first in e-commerce in Europe. So we started a clothing brand. So Charles in the beginning was a clothing brand that sold primarily via WhatsApp, service, marketing, sales, all via WhatsApp. We then quickly realized that there's no real software enabling what we do on scale. So we pivoted, and since 2020, we actually built a software so all consumer brands out there could do WhatsApp on scale and bring their e-commerce into WhatsApp. And today with Charles Software, we attributed over 100 million, roughly over 100 million in euros for the consumer brands we work with, which are leaders and pioneers in Europe. So the core belief on why we really wanted to start pioneering WhatsApp in e-commerce in Europe starts with first principles. And the first principle is that e-commerce at its core is about how much do I pay for my customers, so customer acquisition costs, CAC, and then how much lifetime value or lifetime revenue do I make with this customer over time, right? That's the basic equation everyone has to solve well for a healthy business. Now the problem is, and many of you know that e-commerce is becoming a red ocean market, and especially the channel mix is becoming less and less profitable. So customer acquisition costs are going up because, for example, the marketing efficiency of channels like Google, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, they're going down. The ROAS is going down. Some of you might probably have that problem and try to deal with it, right? So what does that do? That pushes more pressure on the customer lifetime value, right? So actually retaining your customer, you have to bring it up if your customer acquisition cost goes up, because otherwise your business is not healthy. And so many CMOs are investing into email, right? And into CRM, tech stack, marketing, whatever. But email is also a red ocean market and is struggling with reachability, right? You just don't access your customers anymore via email as much as you would love to, right? So email helps to bring your CAC down, and it helps to bring your customer lifetime value up, but the equation is not healthy. And as you can imagine, now comes the last piece of the puzzle that completes a healthy picture to really keep your CAC stable and to grow your customer lifetime value over time, and that is WhatsApp. Because it's a blue ocean market, it's a new channel with the ability to support your marketing mix, but also to support your CRM. And I will show you how, but what is important to know here is that there's one person in particular in this world who wants that a lot, and that's our friend Mark. So next to the business app that WhatsApp has, there is an API since a few years, and this API really enables integrations, enables automation, enables one-to-many messaging, for example. But Meta is not doing them themselves. They're not a SaaS company, right? They only do the native long-tail stuff themselves, so that they do with partners like Charles. And I'll show you what e-commerce and WhatsApp means based on the clothing brand that we started in 2019. So let's start with the sales use case. So imagine next to a normal e-commerce checkout for full price, you could do also a slightly discounted WhatsApp checkout. And then once you're in the chat, the relationship with the business started. Or imagine that you bought something and then you want your tracking via WhatsApp to follow your order, right? And from there, maybe you have some service questions. So that is the service use case via WhatsApp. And then the last one is the marketing case, where imagine that you want to subscribe for a newsletter like in email, and for that you're getting 10% or 20%. And then as well, there's an opt-in with the business, the connection with the business is there. And that last one, the marketing use case, and maybe some of you heard of the Klaviyo IPO, is actually the one that at Charles enabled us to grow the most once we started building our software. And that's also why we focused on that in the beginning. So let's go away from the clothing brand that we started in 2019, right, and really talk about the Charles software and its core use case, the WhatsApp marketing engine. A typical way of doing WhatsApp marketing as a business is that, like in email newsletters, first you need to attract your customers through opt-ins, right? So it's also GDPR compliant from your website or from any other channel that has a link or a QR code. Then you segment your customers also with integrations, for example, into your CRM system or in your shop system, where there's a lot of data that you can leverage. And then you engage your customers through marketing campaigns, through marketing automation flows, or actually through one-on-one conversations that you can have in WhatsApp with them in an automated way or as a human. And that creates a lot of conversations, and those conversations attribute revenue, and that's how you grow new revenue and profitable revenue in a channel that you probably never used before as a business. And that's exactly the core use case, the marketing machine, that we have been focusing on as a software in the last years with Charles. A few outcomes of that for the customers we work with. So here, for example, you see a younger consumer brand who is using a marketing automation flow. So when they collect the opt-in, they actually ask extra questions to their customers. So they segment them the moment they get the opt-in. Just with that flow, because at the end they redeem a voucher, they made a few million in revenue. But more importantly, that cohort that started to be in WhatsApp has a 25% CLV uplift versus their only email cohorts. Then you can also be a bit more creative about how you collect those opt-ins, right? With About You, one of our customers, they actually leverage influencers to get people into the About You WhatsApp channel and then do campaigning from there. And that is a creative way to collect subscribers, but then there's also creative ways to engage your subscribers with campaigns. And here I'm particularly proud of what we did with the WWF. We built the first WhatsApp game, which was a marketing campaign to their community in which over a third of the recipients spent 20 minutes going through the game and thereby being educated about the cause of the WWF and then obviously donating a lot at the end. But then it can also be very simple, like MediaMarkt is showing, where you're just sending a, let's say, Black Friday, Cyber Monday campaign to your customers who really want to have a good discount, for example. And that currently in WhatsApp, because it's a blue ocean market, has opening rates over 90%. And then you see another thing here, €2.31 RPC. What is RPC? All of you know what ROI is, right? You're looking for that day by day. But RPC actually is a KPI that we invented at Charles that is our internal lighthouse KPI. And it's the revenue per conversation. And why is that relevant? Because of how Meta is monetizing their API. They actually charge, and you see this on the left side, they charge per conversation that the business is having with their customers through the API, which costs between 4 and 11 cents. So the main thing that you have to do well is to get as much revenue as possible back for that, because otherwise it's, again, not a healthy thing, right? So what we do with Charles, with our software since 2020, what our product is focused on and what our success team is focused on with white glove support is really optimizing with the consumer brands that we work with towards the highest RPC possible, which was 55 cents since 21, €1.43 in 2022, and now in 2023, across 10 millions and millions of conversations, it's over €2, right? So that is more than 10x if you would think in ROAS, what we have said in the beginning is currently struggling, for example, for Instagram, Facebook, and so on. That really, as a business, enabled us great growth in the last years through seed and Series A with Excel, HV Capital, Salesforce Ventures. We were able to raise over 30 million. But to be honest, for us, it's just the beginning, because the true vision is that the marketing case, which we are focusing on right now as a software in WhatsApp, is just chapter 1. And why? Because it attracts businesses, it brings businesses in, because it's clear ROI, right? They can connect it to what they're already doing. but it's not yet necessarily delighting their customers. So chapter 2 for us is about delighting the customers of the business we work with through use cases like service or sales, where the consumers really have a big need. And then they get help through WhatsApp in a delightful way, like Marco does it for Noah, right? When you text with him. And that's then the last part to really do the full customer journey, and then we want to spread into other verticals and productize for travel, real estate, and jobs, and so on. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope that more of you now actually understand what is happening there. If you want to understand it even better and try it out in your own WhatsApp, what the experience with a business can be there, then just scan this QR code. And with that, I want to thank you a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.